Welcome to session 20. Now, I'm really excited to have Vinata presenting today from Meridian Design Associates, based out of New York in North America. Vinata actually used to work with me at Fulton Trotter Architecture as part of our Sydney practice for a number of years. And it's exciting to see her up on as part of this global stage and being able to present and talk about some of the techniques and methodologies that she's using in regards to documenting using properties. And today you'll see a strong focus on the use of properties and information, because from my perspective, I think once we've mastered the arts of modelling geometry accurately and correctly, we then need to focus on the information. And today we have Vinata sharing with you some of the processes that she's been using with Meridian Design Associates to produce documentation outputs from her practice. So take it away, Vinata.
Okay, hi Nathan. Thanks for the introduction. Yes, we are going to do tagging and scheduling using Property Manager. So let's start. What we've got here in front of us is a project that we did using this method. So you can see here, all the text that we have is reading from the elements. So if I hover over it, you can see it's highlighting the items that we have. I'm just gonna go to the sink here, for example. And it's classified as plumbing. And this brings up my plumbing fixture list. Talk about that later. And if I change this to my other sink, for example, PF16, this will update my tag automatically. There you go. So yeah, we use this for our plumbing fixtures, for example. You can see here, this is actually equipment. So I've changed this to equipment and it comes up as an equipment list instead of plumbing. We've also used this for all of our furniture. Just opening up the furniture plan. It's a big file. There you go. Same thing with this one. Set up as furniture with furniture list. I've got quite an extensive list there. If you change this to another chair, it changes itself. It's kind of semi-automatic because it doesn't actually change your chair. And you do have to manually pick your item from the list, but it's still better than what we had before. So here you can use subcategory. This is now a storage, and the storage list is way more manageable. Okay, cancel that. So that's kind of a quick introduction on what we can use this for. I'm just going to close this up and open a new file. So this is just your out-of-the-box Archicad template. We're just going to do this from scratch. I'm going to go to Options, Property Manager. So you can see here, we're going to go through the Property Manager for a bit. We've got all this default within the template. You can see and familiarize yourself with it. So if I just click on one of this, data type string is just custom text really. You've got number, integer, length, area, volume, angle, true and false. text list option set. So you can kind of look at, for example, anything with an expression has some kind of formula in it, right? It's kind of a similar formula that you use in Excel, so it's quite easy to use. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and make a new group, Arch Intensive. Okay. Okay. Gonna go with a furniture list, for example. So to create a list, you need an option setup. To do an option setup, you do a option set. So you want to create your list with the naming rule. So it works in parts, which is separated by something, right? So my separator I like to use is just a space dash space. Gonna do a chair, space dash space, brand, space dash space, model, space dash space, color, for example. Gonna add another one, another chair maybe, West Elm, chair, and leather maybe. What do I want to do? Coffee table, 01. I don't know, another West Elm. Coffee table, black and gloss maybe. I don't know. Okay, so we've got 3 options there. Press OK. Just one thing to make sure, once you do have your options set up, you don't go ahead and change this to another data type, because if you change it back to option set, you lose all your items. I'm just gonna redo that bit. Coffee table. Black. Okay, and I'm going to set this to furniture. So anything that I set my classification to furniture, this furniture list will show up. Okay, so we've got Archicad classification and we've got master format classification. I think master format is just for the US because it's what we use for our specification. I like to use master format because it's just more extensive compared to the Archicad. The Archicad classification is mostly for IFC export. For example, construction element, beam, slab, so that Revit knows what those elements are. But for doing lists like this, for tagging and scheduling, I like to use master format. Just gonna do 1250 furniture, and I'm gonna click that again, and I'm gonna grab all of that. So anything that runs in the subcategories, it's all selected. Just gonna go OK. Okay, I think that's it. Just gonna create a chair now. Furniture. Chair. Okay. The other reason why I like using master format for the classification is because the US library have the same structure. so I can always remember what to select. So for example, 1250 furniture. And that brings up my list. I'm gonna use one. Oh, wait, I forgot to click this. Oops. See, there's nothing on here. Once I select this, it will show up. There you go. Chair 1, okay. Click that. Another thing that I like to do is, if I go back to Property Manager, just make sure that you have a default value. So my default value is just gonna be choose from list, so that I know that I need to set this, not just whatever it's defaulting to. So CHO1, wanna do another one as another chair. I'm gonna call this CHO2. Okay. That's my West Elm. Okay, for the table, I am going to use a placeholder slab, because the good thing about having properties is you can set it up to any 3D elements. You can use morphs, slab, walls. You just have to make sure that it's only one element if you're doing quantity. For example, scheduling quantity. So just take this off and change it to furniture. And this is my coffee table. Okay. So now we've already set this as what they are. What we want to do now is extract this information into our tag. So at first we have to create those tags. We're gonna go new property, call it a tag. String, which is text, that's correct. Expression. So this is your formula bar. You can click on formulas here if you want to create from, choose from the list or just search. We're using split. You can see when you hover, it's got a description and a result type, which is a string. So that's where you know you need to use your data type. So the description here is splits a string into parts at a given delimiter and returns the specified part. So I'm gonna double click that and change the text to my furniture list. Okay, and our delimiter is the space, our separator. And we are going to read the first part of our naming system. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna go back in there and I'm gonna copy this, because now we are going to create new properties to read all those different parts. So we've got brand, expression, paste, number 2, model, okay, expression, paste, number 3, another one, last one, okay, expression, paste, number 4. Okay. So we've got all 4, and we want to be available for everything, for all items on all classification. The reason why I did that is because if you do have another list, for example, you've got your plumbing list, and you set up your list here, PF01 something, I don't know, okay. You can actually use the same tag and just change what it's reading to. So this one tag will read, oh, did I not? Okay. So the same tag is gonna read either furniture or plumbing, and it doesn't matter because it's reading everything, but it filters in within the list itself. So that's actually a plumbing classification. Okay, so that kind of goes back to my example before, where, you know, this tag and this tag is completely the same tag, but it only reads what my classification is telling it to read. So this only reads my storage list, this only reads my furniture list. I'm gonna go back here. Okay, so I've got here just a normal label, text, auto text, associative, and just want to make sure that highlights the objects like that. Auto text, properties, and I have my option. I want my tag, and that's it. That's my tag. CH01, CT02. Okay. The good thing about this list as well is that if you need to change your furniture, for example, you go back to your option setup. I actually did a mistake on this, CT01, and no, I don't want it to be black anymore. I want it to be white. It will change on all of this. Okay. So why did we make all those part numbers? Those are for the schedules. New schedule. F for furniture. Furniture schedule. Element type is all types because we've got objects, we've got slabs. I'm gonna do layer. Anything in the furniture layer, and I'm gonna add my fields to tag, brand, model, color. Great. Okay, that's it. Furniture schedule. There you go, that's your basic. Actually, why is my table not there? Because it's got a different layer. Furniture. There you go, that's my table. Okay, so that's your basic schedule, just coming straight off your list. So, of course, you want to put in more information than this, but you don't want to be having a list that's like so long. That's when you just add in your custom text. So, custom text, I used to use the general custom text here. I don't use this anymore but I use the properties instead, and you'll see why. So for example, I want this product information to show me my, what's general ratings? No. To show me my, I don't know, serial number, barcode. You can use this like and change the title later, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. So say I don't actually want this to be a barcode. I want it to be just notes. And sure, I want that as serial number, custom text. I'll just skip that. Cool. So you can edit your custom text here. Say it's a location, private office, for example. These guys are in the open areas, and these guys are in the lounge. Okay, see how I can't edit my properties here? It's because I need to go back to my property manager and go to where I use it, which is all of this. If I just click on the header and click all, it will change on the sub items. So I use my serial number and barcode, remember? And I press OK. And there it is. I can now edit my barcode and my notes. So undefined is just your default value. If you don't want it to be undefined, you can change it to something else. So my default value is just gonna be nothing, a dash. Okay, so that's just my default value. Serial number, and all right. So this is my custom text. This is my custom text from properties, and same with this one. So what I want to do is I am going to go back to my plan. Say I want this chair to be right here. Actually, no, I don't. I want this chair to be this CH01. Transfer all settings. Yeah. You could create a setting transfer that ignores the rotation too. Okay, so this is now reading CH01. But if I go back to my furniture schedule, you can see if I merge uniform items here. Okay, you can see my CH01 doesn't merge because my custom text doesn't transfer. So for example, if I do another one from scratch, actually, say I've got another table, but I'm not gonna copy it. I'm gonna create new table. That's still CT01, but my custom text doesn't relate to that, but my serial number and my notes does. So that's why I don't use custom text anymore. I just use this and it cleans up nicely because all the information is transferable and you can just pick and drop your information. Same thing goes with like door schedule, for example, anything really that you need a custom text schedule. All right, so that's tagging, that's scheduling. We can use this same method to extract information from a Revit model. So I've got here another empty file. This file I've set up with the exact story settings of the project that we're using. The exact story settings that is in the Revit file. I'm gonna merge from file an IFC that I've exported from Revit, from a consultant's Revit, that is, lighting consultant. And I've already set up a bunch of IFC translator that will clean up these objects. So I'm gonna do that. Embedded library, that's fine. So my translator just like cleans up surfaces, building materials, layer. So it just brings it into a clean place. 4th floor, okay. All right. So if I click on one of this, for example, let's go back to this location. When I go to the settings, I can see here that my ID has the code that I want in between the two semicolons. So I can actually make my property expression to read this as the second part with the delimiter of semicolons. So go down and you see there's an IFC properties as well. And they do have PFs here. I think there's a way to extract IFC information from an object, but that kind of requires more GDL coding. So if you can do it with just properties, that's actually better. Just gonna do text. And gonna grab this. Whoa. Okay, auto text. Okay, I don't have anything on my properties here right now because what I need to do is grab all of my objects except for my label and select a classification for it. Right now I'm using light fixture, okay. And if I go to my property manager, under my light fixture, I don't have a list because it just comes from the Revit model. So that's actually not a list, just light fixture tag, string. So I'm splitting it from the element ID with the semicolon as my separator, and it's the second part. I'm just gonna go back to here and add my light fixture tag. That's it. That's my light fixture. Wanna maybe create that like that. Want to grab this here, select everything. Actually, I don't really need the arrow, so I'm just going to turn that off. Put that here. Okay. Gonna select all the elements. Actually, I don't want that label. Great. So I've got my button here, label selected elements, but I think it is under edit, element settings. No, it's not. It's under, usually when you use shortcuts a lot and you don't actually remember where in the menu it is. Document, there it is. Label selected elements. There you go. That's all selected. So for example, don't need that, it's a double up. I just want to grab all of my labels and just shift them to a nicer location. Of course, you do need to be like, clean up a few of these so that they're in a nice position, but the hard part's already out of the way. So what I do is I just copy and paste this to my project. So you can see here, back to this file. There you go. It's the same light fixture and tags that you see just then. So, yep. And because it's taken from a Revit model, we do export our model to Revit that we give to consultants, but they use that to set their heights and everything. So all of these are in the correct height that we want. I think we have a little bit more time, so I'm going to show you the iPad. There you go. So this is the same location that we saw just then, this guy. Okay, now, if I click on my furniture here, for example, information. So it's just like basic information that we just created. These all came from the naming system that we use in our furniture list. We've got the code, brand, and model. Go back to here. We do the same thing for surfaces as well. So the way you name your surface, you can also extract that information. So I think here, the first four columns, or the first four information here, code, manufacturer, model line, and color finish, that all comes from our surface naming. And then the remarks are just the custom text that we use. You see here, if we go to another view, for example, so yeah, you see here how our light fixture is exactly in the level and location that we want. And it's not much information because we didn't actually have time to put into to the schedule. So all we have here is just the type and the offset. Anything that is automatically or easy to get automatically. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so thanks, Nathan. I'll give it back to you.
Hey guys, hope everyone's going strong still. I'm happy to say I've picked up my first coffee in 21 hours, so I've kept off the caffeine until now. I'm really excited to be talking right now and having Vinata sit right beside me. This is Vinata's first ever presentation that she's done. So the key thing with this event was to obviously bring our seasoned users that have got a lot of presentation knowledge and and expertise to the table, but also give opportunities to more junior people within industry, within the Archicad community, so we can start to help mentor them and then bring them through as the leaders of tomorrow. So Vinata worked with us at Fulton Trotter and learnt some bad habits, including having the navigator on the left-hand side, and I'm sorry that I did that.
I've spread it to this office.
So I started that trend here in Australia. I don't know why. It must be my left-handed nature, but everyone else in the world has their navigator on the right. So you can tell someone that I've trained and have learnt from me in either a positive or a bad way. But Matthew's back awake and he's talking about unleashing the properties, so he's really excited about that. And I think, Vinata, you actually flew up from Sydney for the first Archicon in 2015, I remember, with Fulton Trotter, I think.
Brisbane,
yes.
Yeah.
So you would have saw Matthew's presentation back then as well. Jeremiah says this presentation's rocking his world. He feels like he's been exposed to a hidden magical world. Now, that's kind of how I feel right now. I'm a little bit tired and a little bit crazy. But Jeremiah, this is the entree. I purposely have put the next 3 sessions one after the other. Vinata, Eduardo, and John, mate. You wait till you see this as a collection. To me, geometry and modelling is one thing, but when you move into phase 2, which is actually information and attaching that to Archicad and using it for smarts to label things, to schedule things and export data out of Archicad, just wait for the next couple of more hours, mate. Hopefully it's a good time zone for you, so it all goes in. A lot of things aren't going in with me right now, except for some coffee. So Matthew got up specifically to see your session, Vinata, so feel special about that. Matthew's a little bit excited about seeing people saying the R word.
Unavoidable when you're working in the US.
Jan reckons we should have a bleep button every time someone says the R word. I personally am not afraid of the R word. I think that as people, as users, we need to be aware of all the tools that are available out in the market and don't just keep our eyes closed and think that that's the only solution. There could be a day where the R word might be actually the best word. Who knows? We've got to accept that might be the case, but it probably won't. It never will. But you've got to stay open to it. Okay.
Yeah. Working as in an Archicad office as well in a bleep
in a big world
country.
Yeah, big world.
You sort of need to prove that it's not a disadvantage. You could work as well with consultants with Archicad.
So we have a lot of questions going on with everyone answering them already, but I think it'd be good to get your thoughts on this as well, Vinata. So Matthew's asked a question about what are the pros and cons that you see for scheduling using 2 different methods. 1, entering specification data like serial numbers manually in a schedule, or 2, using if statements to populate text data based on other fields.
I mean, I guess I've never thought of the if command, but then your data would live in a separate location. It's not just the one line that you choose from. The good thing about the one line that I did was that it's easy for people to choose from the list. They know, oh, okay, that's what I want.
Yep. And Eduardo's suggesting ifs, so nothing like a bit of ifs. Ifs are good. And Matthew's going to say yes, but it requires knowledgeable expression writer to modify, whereas dumb text can be done by anyone. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes systems can be too complex for the users. Let's get the system to suit the user. Excel integration is also a consideration of getting non-Archicad users to fill in data.
Yep.
I personally...
That's actually one thing that I forgot to say, because if you use the properties, you could actually export to Excel and import it back in. Whereas if you use the custom text, you can't do that. Yeah.
It's something that I've been thinking about, but then I keep going back to this point of going, I want less data in Archicad. I only want to live with the attributes as the data in Archicad and then use the rest out in my specification, so I'm not bogging down with my model with any more extra stuff. Bobby, you're still awake, mate. Well done. I hope you're not as tired as I am. But Vinata, do you have any QA processes or ability to lock for people accidentally overriding expressions in your schedules?
Not so much. I mean, this is a big project that, like, at one point everyone in the office was using it, and we had no problem. I think one key option was put the stuff that they need to edit on at the very top, and just maybe hide all the rest of like the back of house at the bottom, so they don't even look at it.
Oh, so it's kind of like people are lazy. Assume that
Yeah, they are. They're like, what is this? Okay, I just need to go to properties manager and change add more items in the option set. That's all I need to do. Don't touch anything else, kind of thing.
Oh, we've got people falling asleep here at this end. I should turn my camera around just for a bit of fun. But Eduardo is going to cover off on some other stuff in the next session. So Matthew's asking some questions around that. Min's talking about properties manager being amazing. Oh, yes, it is. Jeremiah's in Canada, so it's a good time for you, mate. I'm glad it's good for you, and it's good that you're in that hour. Hopefully, you're an afternoon peaking person and not a morning peaking person. And these next 2 sessions, you'll learn a lot. Francois, you're still awake, mate. Well done. It's getting probably, what is it, 9:03. So you're about 6 hours away. So what's that mean? It's about 10 p.m. now in South Africa, I think. John's great presentation, Vinata.
Thank you.
Gabriel wants to know how you select info props to send to BIMX Publishing. Vinata, would you like to explain how info for BIMX Publishing occurs?
So I publish BIMX from the publisher, and if you click on the set info, you can actually select the schedules that you want to export. It's easy as that. It's in the settings.
Yeah, so it's in the parent basically when you go to set your actual publishing set. It's part of when you save as a single file. You have the choice either as a single PDF or the BIMX, and then at the bottom there you can pick either out of the box generic info or likewise. Francois, teamwork permissions could lock users to edit properties. Yes, you could use that. Aubrey, great job, Vinata. We are only now exploring this potential in the software. So Aubrey, wait till you see the next 2 presentations. I think this 3-hour block on properties will blow your mind in its entirety. So Vinata, well done on your first presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for contributing to the team of presenters that we've had so far and to come to finish off this amazing 24-hour marathon. If people who are online now can put in the chat how many hours you guys have been part of the event today, it'd be great to know how far everyone's come on this journey. Even taking out your gaps that you've been on, it'd be good to know how many hours people are clocked up in front of the screen, because I feel sorry for putting you in front of the screen in COVID times, but I wanted to try and find a way in which we could come up with a unique experience for people to hear from the likes of Vinata and other up and coming Archicad experts. We've done really well with the event. We're close right this second to having we have 1,758 registrants to participate in the event today, and we've held just over 100 pretty much throughout the live stream. So wonderful, guys. Thank you very much. We'll have an ad break now for about 17 minutes, and we'll be back with Eduardo shortly on the next session for session 21. Only 4 1/4 hours to go, guys. Keep it up.